And I remember I was handed like the first rent check or the rent
Yeah,
cash, and just felt like gold in my hand,
yeah,
It's I think it was like $800 at the time, and it just felt so good to just have that. That felt like fruition. That is fruition. Like if you think about it,
yeah,
like that's the last thing. That's what you're chasing for is fruition. That fruition is that rent money. Is the last thing to come out of your investment. And when you plant a tree, planting a tree is an investment. Why do you plant a tree if you're not going to eat its fruits? Why do you
What's up, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Success is Us. This channel is all about success. I bring on successful people who got some knowledge to share to you, to inspire you, to motivate you, to so you can become successful. You feel me? And today I got my boy Frank. I actually met him on Instagram, like most people I do. I saw him on Instagram live, just sharing game and sharing his journey basically. And I was inspired. I was like, man, I gotta follow this guy, and I've been following him for a while. He spreads nothing but positivity. All I see him is doing is working, 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 and I respect it. So yeah, Frank, can go ahead, introduce yourself.
What's up, everyone? It's Frank here. First of all, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate you reaching out. I really like your content. It's based around
Yeah,
entrepreneurship, motivation, succeeding in this world, and these are things that I really resonate with. So yeah, we can go into detail like about what we do and all these things soon.
yeah. So you're big into real estate. How many properties have you worked on?
I worked on a little under a dozen.
Okay, okay. And did you own all those properties, or some of it you didn't?
Yeah, owned.
You own all of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna get into that definitely. So well, first of all, how did you get into real estate?
So backtracking to when I was, oh gosh, even when I was in high school, I didn't get into real estate investing in high school, but it all kind of trickles down to like high school. And my dad and my uncle grew up, I guess they kind of raised me with the kind of background that you always need to work and always got to be hands-on.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
uncle got involved into real estate investing, and then my dad jumped in as well. And on the weekends throughout my high school years, I'd go and help my uncle and my dad at the properties that they were fixing. And every other weekend I'd show up, I'd see massive amounts of progress being done to these properties. And me just being like a hands-on kind of guy, like this stuff excites me.
yeah,
And as I was approaching senior year in high school, I was like questioning, do I go to college? Do I go to university? Or do I do the real estate like my uncle and my dad? And I just started questioning, the status quo, trying to figure out how much money I'll be making if I became a real estate guy
yeah, yeah,
versus
yeah,
at the time I was into like, I wanted to be like a park ranger, park like something like I want to study like conservation, biology,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like these things don't really pay well. Like you end up being like a park ranger. Nothing wrong with that, but like I looked up how much they make, and it's like what 50 grand, 60 grand a year. I'm like that was enough to kill it for me. I do not want to be a biologist or any. I do not want to study any of that because I'm also like money driven, coming from an immigrant family as well. So I turned down my college approval letters, university approval letters, scholarships. Told my mom I'm not going to university or college. I'm going to pursue what my uncle's doing, real estate.
Yeah,
And my
was that tough?
mom, yeah, I mean, for my mom, she took it kind of tough.
Yeah,
I'm her oldest kid, so it's always like a dream of an immigrant family to send their first kid off to college, university,
yeah,
and all these things, up that corporate ladder. And they didn't get that for me. So she was upset. She thought I was wrong. She thought I was making a mistake,
yeah,
that success, like the gateway to success is through university. And she just had that ingrained in her mind so much. Um, and right after I graduated high school, I started working in construction with my dad as a laborsman, just being hands-on. This is where I learned the electrical, the plumbing, the roofing, this concrete, all these little skills here and there. I learned it in that 1 year of working repetitively houses, a bunch of houses that year that we did. And at the end of the year, I had saved up enough cash for a down deposit to my first property. And not just that, but more importantly, I not just saved up the cash, but I saved up like the skills that I still carry to this day to, not just me doing the work physically myself, but managing other people to do it for me, or together.
Yeah, yeah. So how much did you save up for that first down payment?
4,000.
4,000. Okay, okay. Did you end up profiting off of it, or how did that property go?
Yeah, that was my first one. I was 19. This was it was actually funny because like my uncle sold it to me. I
Okay.
sat down on the table with my uncle and I told him, this is a year after I graduated high school. Of I told him that I decided not to go to university or college because of you. I see all the success that you have, and I ran the numbers. I know how much you make. You don't need to tell me you're impressed. I ran the numbers. I looked at all the
Yeah,
properties, the apartments. I love math when it comes to like money,
yeah,
like not when it's like algebra and equations and stuff. And I told him, I know how much you make. I know how much a doctor makes. It only takes a Google search to find that out.
yeah.
A doctor, 8 years in school, and you're not even guaranteed that pay because you got to look for the job. My uncle at the time was 7 years in the business, less than the 8 years of going to school, and he was making more than a doctor. So
Wow.
that was just like almost a no-brainer for me. And I love the work. Like I like the work. So it's just, man, I'm on path. I'm gonna go for this. And he was touched by that story, that like he was the reasoning for my motives to like pursue my dreams. And the next day he sent me a text message with a property, and he called me and he said, "You see that property that I just sent you the text message to?" I was like, "Yeah, well, what's up with that?" He said, "I can sell you this property for a good deal. We can work something out. I'll finance it for you. Just give me the down deposit, and we'll work out the rest of the stuff later." And we drove to the house that night, and it was dark and everything, but I was so convinced that this is the house that I'm getting. I'm getting this house. And just like that, from one day to the next, I went from this dreamer of wanting to buy a house to now, holy crap, I'm a property owner,
Yeah, yeah,
just because I decided to express myself. And I think expression, self-expression, is so important.
yeah, 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 yeah. Even the world is gonna try to suppress you. And self expression is one of the hardest things to do in this world, for real.
Mm. Yeah, it can be tough.
Yeah, yeah. So you were speaking about how your mom was like very against you dropping, like not dropping out, not deciding to go to college and going the real estate route. Why do you think that is? Like, is it just the immigrant mindset? Like, you go to America, you get the, because I'm an immigrant as well.
Mm.
And so where we come from, yeah, it's like college is like the only route that'll get you big, you know what I mean? But here in America, it's so many different opportunities and so many things that you can get. So is it just that immigrant mindset? Like, talk to me about that.
I think being born of an immigrant family definitely gives you a boost
Yeah,
in terms of upping your work ethic.
yeah, yeah,
And not to discriminate or not to say that immigrants are the hardest working people, but in my experience, like the most hungriest people in terms of like wanting to succeed in life start from nothing.
yeah,
And those people generally are immigrants. I mean, you can start from nothing and be born in the States, but there's just something about growing up as an immigrant that you hear the stories from either your direct mom or dad, or your uncles or cousins and brothers or whatever, and the stories of the struggles of how they had it in their countries and the efforts that they made to come here. I've had a lot of family members who came through the border and all these things, and the stories that they share with me are touching.
yeah,
And you just look around, and we take this for granted that we're in the States. It's something that everyone takes for granted.
yeah. That's facts. Yeah. So
And hearing these stories, it's like, oh man, you really don't take it for granted that much, because you grow so much more appreciation for it. And it's embedded in you throughout your childhood. You hear these stories, you just see it in your face. My parents are first generation immigrants. They started their businesses as I was growing up. We did not have much growing up. We were like four of us in a small one-bedroom apartment in New York City. And we had to leave to Philadelphia because it was too much rent, too much money. And yeah, but it's a like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. So how old were you when you came to America?
I was 4.
You were four.
I
Okay.
was young.
So tell me about like from. Do you remember your country at all, or
I do, but not honestly, not as much.
yeah. So talk to me about how from that that first step that you took to America through elementary school, middle school, everything that led up to here.
Like as soon as I came to the States, kind of, and like to
Yeah.
where I'm at now. Yeah. So coming to the States, so I struggle with this. Is why do I seem so different than everybody? Why do I have this mole on my face? Why is my last name spelled so weird? Why is it not Smith, or why is it not Brown? It's like, why do I have these facial features that like don't really look so common in others? It's like, why
Yeah.
am I so different? And it made me feel like the outcast a lot growing up through elementary, middle school, high school. um and I kind of, in a lot of ways, I feel like I parted myself. Like I feel like I was not the outcast in a bad way, but just like at first I thought I was an outcast, but then I kind of branched it into, no, I just stand out. And I,
Yeah.
and I just kind of started using that as an advantage. And I started taking ownership. I can't change my nationality.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't change from where I'm born. I can't remove this mole off my face. I can't change these things. And so if something for the things that you can change, you just gotta learn to embrace. So I started embracing from where I am, my last name, my roots, getting to know my grandparents and learning more about where I'm from. And with that just comes more confidence, more responsibility of, things that are just there. And that's what it did. It built a lot of confidence.
Did you have a lot of insecurities at first? Being kind of a loner and being not like everybody else. Did it affect you negatively? I'll say.
I think I did grow up with some insecurities.
Yeah.
I wasn't as social as most people growing up throughout middle school, high school.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, that's just my, that's just how that's what makes me me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So you went to elementary in New York.
No, I did all my schooling in Philadelphia
Oh, okay.
from kindergarten up. Yeah.
Okay. And how was it there?
In Philly, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't live too far from where I grew up now. It's it's kind of every time I like now I travel, to like I go outside of Philly and I come back like maybe a year later, and every time I come back, same people working the same job,
Yeah.
same uniform, same routine, just a little bit older and a little bit fatter, and it's sad to see. And that's why I think it's very important to have outreaches, like your page is an outreach to people who can, get some inspiration. We need that. We need inspiration and
Yeah.
motivation to move people, because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have clarity. They don't have passion. They don't have drive or ambition. And without these, I mean, these are really, really high qualities, really admirable qualities I see in people. Because if you don't have these things, then you're not, motivated to get ahead in this world. Like when I wake up, I want to wake up excited. I wake up excited, like ready to get ready for my day and just like get the things done on my to-do list, because I have a plan, I have a goal. And when you don't have a goal, then you're just waking up, you're hitting the snooze button, you're watching TV, you're just, trying to get rid of time. Time is the measurement of life. So like
Yeah.
I try and put a really emphasis in my time too, and like time management. Because at the end of the day, it's like time is the measurement of life. That's all you have.
Yeah. So I feel like that also goes into like exposure. Like you said, like your you saw, was it your uncle or your father who had who was doing real estate?
It was my uncle, yeah.
Yeah. So since you was exposed to that, you feel me, and you got to see how the other side is, then you could have that as a goal. A lot of people don't even know that's a possibility, so they only know that one way. So yeah, they only know that job that they hate. They only know, you feel me, they've watched their parents, their family members, their friends go through that their whole lives, and so they just thought that that's all they could do.
I agree. And sometimes you don't have these immediate mentors in our day-to-day lives,
Yeah.
but you can get mentors through social media platforms, through YouTube. My uncle was a big mentor for me, but in terms of health and well-being outside of the world of finances and entrepreneurship, I had people that I looked up to on YouTube. And so had not having this person, oh, you can say, oh, but Frank had this uncle who helped him. But don't look at excuses. I mean, like, I also passionate about health, and
Yeah,
nobody in my immediate family was passionate about health, but I found that person that was all the way like in a different state. He never knew anything about me. I just followed his YouTube videos, and so it's important to have people to look up to, and to get rid of that mindset. When people have something that you want to achieve, when people have something, they did something that you once that you achieved, get rid of that envious, that jealousy mindset. Use it, see it as an example, have that perception shift where it's like, when if he can do it, or if she can do it, I can too. Why can't I? I'm
yeah,
just as capable. I just have as much potential as them.
yeah, yeah. So, did you ever come into contact with the person you were watching on YouTube, or did you just watching?
Yeah, it's a funny story. He's like a big friend now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into contact with him? Because a lot of people are scared to contact people. You know what I mean? Even people really close to them, people in their own neighborhoods, they're scared. They don't even know what to say. So how
Mm.
did you even? Did you feel scared talking to him, or was you just like,
In the beginning, I feel like he was like this kind of celebrity.
yeah,
Like I know all about you, but you don't know anything about me.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it's just you got to get out of your comfort zone at one point. You can't stay there. No growth happens there. If it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, why not? It's like literally uncomfort lasts like that long, and it comes and
yeah,
it gets out the window. Like it did feel a little uncomfortable, but the relationships that came about were just was really, really amazing. I'm glad
yeah.
I reached out. Yeah.
So, is that what inspired you to go fruit based?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
what exactly is fruit based? Because I've seen people say plant based all the time, but you're the first person I've seen say fruit based.
Yeah. There's plant based. There's fruit based. Fruit based. My definition is a diet consisting of primarily like fruits,
Yeah,
meaning sweet, fresh, juicy, ripe fruits off the well, not off the tree here. We're in Philly here, but
yeah,
yeah, a diet comprising mostly of sweet, juicy fruits, and that's the diet that I eat for the most part. And I find that it helps me just function at a really like productive pace,
yeah,
and I'm sharp, I'm energetic, I feel strong, I feel like I have a drive, and I owe a lot of this to the fruit-based diet, but I also owe a lot of this to like the work, like to my work ethic that came from like the immigrant side as well. So these are like two and two that just helped me pursue more.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So did it take some discipline to go fully fruit based? Because like you said, you don't come from a healthy like family that's really health driven and all that. So was it tough making the switch?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I was so convinced that this was the right way to eat.
Yeah,
Um, but being the only ones that eat this way in your household, because I started this like at 16,
yeah,
you know, it's like when you open the fridge, you have all these other junk foods, pork chops,
yeah,
ribs, whatever. And it's a little like it's just more obstacles, but that's why you have to have your why so embedded in you. Like, why are you doing this, Frank? If
yeah,
I'm just doing it because it's like a phase or something, like I'm so deeply convinced, I deeply strongly believe that fruits are the natural food for human beings. Every species, every animal on earth eats a species specific food. And for you've got carnivores, you've got omnivores, you've got herbivores. You also, but then like they forgot, and then we were classified as omnivores, but I
yeah,
I, I think that we're biologically designed as frugivores. Like there's these primates that eat primarily fruit, and you think about it, like every animal on earth eats food in its raw natural state. They don't cook it, they don't season it, they don't microwave it, they don't refrigerate it. what food can you eat in its raw natural state? What's the only food that we crave in its raw natural state? It's not rice, it's not wheat, it's
Yeah,
not bread. Bread doesn't even exist in nature, you know? It's
yeah,
fruit. Fruit is so simple, it's sweet, it's so innocent, it's so pure. It's just one ingredient off the tree. It's vibrant in color. It smells so good. We're
yeah,
attracted to it in all our natural senses. And it just makes so much, it fits perfectly in my hand. A mango, an apple, a banana, a
yeah,
fig, pomegranate, these beautiful things that come out of a flower. And it's like, I want that. They say you are what you eat. And they were like, oh, you're a fruity guy. No, I'm fruitful.
yeah,
I'm fruition. And that to me, it's like, what does fruition mean? It's like, to me, that means success.
yeah,
Fruit is the last thing to grow on a tree. And that symbolizes success for me. Because when a tree fruits, that tree has succeeded and it has gave off its offspring. You know, like the seed is in the middle of a fruit for a reason.
yeah,
And the tree wants you to eat the fruit and then spit the seed out when you walk. That's why the seeds are bitter. The seeds are bitter for a reason.
yeah,
And it like uses you as the mode of transportation to keep reproducing the tree. That's why its fruits are so sweet. Because like we take a bite of the apple, it's good. We're like attracted to it from its bright red natural colors. It smells good. Um, we bite into the seed, and like in nature, imagine we're out in nature and there's apple trees everywhere. We bite into the seed, it's bitter, and we spit it. And then we spit all the seeds because we don't want seeds. And in doing so, we're planting more apple trees. And it's just this beautiful symbiotic relationship that we have with nature. We're directly connected to trees. And yeah, and I just think that eating fruit doesn't hurt anybody. It would only help people. More fruit, at least, eating more fruit.
yeah. I don't know if it's just your Instagram page, but the fruits that you post, man, they be looking so good. Like I don't know if it's the camera or if that's how it really looks in real life, but my fruits don't look like that here.
Well, like I you know what? I think I just take it under the sunlight,
Yeah.
and I don't edit any of these photos. Like
Wow.
it's just the way I get it. No
Yeah.
filter. It's just straight. Whenever I eat these fruits on my own, let me just take a photo if I remember. But yeah, fruit is beautiful. The most expensive drawings and artworks are of fruit.
For real?
Like yeah, like the most. I mean, nowadays it's probably changing with like this whole NFT thing, like
Yeah.
everything's going digital and stuff. But
Yeah.
like back in the day, a lot of paintings would just be of fruit. Like the famous apples and grapes and like the vines of the like that's so people will literally just sit there and just draw fruit for hours. Like it's just beauty. Fruit is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, back into real estate. You got me wanting fruits now. You got me wanting fruit now. But yeah, back into real estate. So you bought your first property. What year was that?
2015.
2015. And now you said you worked on 12. You've owned 12 total.
About, yeah.
Yeah. So how much do you currently own?
Not enough.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So take me from the process from owning that first one to the last one that you just bought.
Okay, I'll be honest. The first one was very, very exciting, but it was
Yeah,
also a little scary.
yeah,
I didn't know I like the term fake it till you make it. I didn't know 100% how to flip a house by myself. I got help from my dad a lot, but I learned the most I ever did within those 3 months of fixing that first property.
yeah,
I had skills coming in, but just like the more like hands-on, just like this is yours and no one else is going to do it for you,
yeah,
and no one's going to pay you to do it. You only get paid once the job is finished, and that's if you get it rented out in time. I like that. Like it's
that pressure.
it's pressure. Yeah. Yeah. Time's ticking now. You're not getting paid by the day. 5 o'clock hits, everyone else leaves. You have to stay. Now you can't leave at 5. You have to finish this house. Weekends, Christmas Day, New Year's Day. I was at that house still trying to get it fixed because it's like the day that I get it fixed up earlier is the day I get my rents early.
Yeah,
And I needed that cash flow. I wanted to feel what that tasted like, is to have a cash flow coming in.
yeah,
So that was very exciting. Learning. I'd go home. I'd do a lot of DIY. I would watch a lot of DIY videos. I was really like into the construction. I was like being super hands-on versus now it's not as exciting for me. I know the phases of construction. You can any house I get, it's like, all right, I already know what I'm gonna do. It's not like I'm not like the young, excited kid who's like learning all these things anymore. Like I know how to do it and it's cool. But it's like it's not exciting. And I'm one to like always want to progress and like I want to move from if I learn a skill, cool. Let's not stay there. Let's progress. Next. I learn it next. I learn it next. And like I'm at the phase where like I'm not really like hands-on with my stuff. I just got this house painted. It's like more than halfway painted today.
Yeah,
I didn't even touch the brush. I didn't touch the roller. I'm just like the one to like drop off the material
yeah,
and my other guy drops off the other guys. And it's like, I'm not really like the guy nailing in or hammering in nails anymore. Like, no way, I do not want to do that. My
yeah,
time is better used elsewhere.
yeah,
But there's nothing wrong with being the one to nail, hammer in those nails. There's a lot of, you can put in a lot of sweat equity into these properties. And yeah, it's just, we're growing in phases. So there's a time for that. There's also a time for managing. And now I want to get into more of the investor side where I could just hire somebody and let them take care of the house. I don't
yeah,
even need to step foot in it. Maybe just stepping foot every now and then, but I don't want to be the one in charge. I want to be the one in charge of the guy in charge.
yeah. So how long? Okay, so how long from when you bought the property to fixing it up to having a tenant in the house?
Yeah, it's a good question. I believe I got it in March of 20, no, it was rented in March 2015. I think I got it in October of 2014,
Yeah,
but I didn't start working on it until like January-ish.
why not?
Uh, and it took about 3 months, a little under 3 months to get the whole house fixed.
Okay.
I needed a lot of work in that property. We're talking everything. We demoed all the insides, framed everything, new electrical, new plumbing, new roof, new foundation in some areas, exterior walls, a lot of everything just new for the most part. So that took about 3 months every single day, um, working on it. And
Every
uh,
single day, no breaks.
no, legit, no breaks, legit. I mean, the guys work Monday to Friday, maybe Monday to Saturday, but I
Yeah,
work, on weekends and throughout the holidays as well.
yeah.
Um,
So why
yeah,
didn't you work on it those first like 3 months?
huh?
You said you bought it in October, but you didn't get to work on it until January.
Well, no, actually, now that I remember it now, I remember that I fixed up the house throughout New Year's. So
Okay.
I started like in December and I finished it. It was ready in March. So like from like maybe December to February, like, but I knew it took 3 months to fix.
Yeah, yeah,
And I know that it got rented out in March. So I think the property's set for like 2 weeks, maybe vacant.
yeah,
No, I'm remembering correctly. The okay. So we were at the ending phase of the property and I had about 2 or 3 days left to like do the touch ups and all these things. And then I get a call from the person that's going to rent the place saying the tenants want to move in today or like they want to move in like tonight.
dang,
And I was like, whoa, I still have so much work to do. I rushed through everything. I made sure everything was right. I was like staying there. I stayed there to like what 8 or 9 p.m.
yeah,
To like make sure that the carpets, because that was the last thing I was doing. It was like the carpets were like put on correctly. And I just remember that, like, having the rush to just get things done. And it was my first taste of like, no one's telling me to rush through this. I'm rushing myself.
yeah,
It's responsibility. And I really love that. And yeah, it was rented around March. And I remember I was handed like the first rent check or the rent
yeah,
cash and just felt like gold in my hand,
yeah,
It's I think it was like $800 at the time. And it just felt so good to just have that. That felt like fruition. That is fruition. Like if you think about it,
yeah,
like that's the last thing. That's what you're chasing for is fruition. That fruition is that rent money is the last thing to come out of your investment. And when you plant a tree, planting a tree is an investment. Why do you plant a tree if you're not going to eat its fruits? Why do you plant a tree if you don't think it's going to grow? So why would I fix that house if it's not going to provide, a place to live for a family, and if I'm not going to get rent in return? So that to me was like my first taste of fruition, I guess I would say. And then it's just that property led to the next, and et cetera, and et cetera.
Yeah,
And,
I know it felt great to get that check in your hand after all those months of work, and after all the nights of just envisioning that happening, that moment happening. Yeah.
for real.
So
Yeah.
if somebody else is hearing this and they want to get into the real estate game, what are some steps that you would want them to take or advise them to take so that they don't make the mistakes that you made in the beginning?
Like if they want to start in real estate.
Yeah,
So so the so finding their first property would be obviously a key one.
yeah,
um getting, I mean, to break it down simply, how would I put this? Figure out your funds, making sure that you get into a property that has enough, you get it at a low enough price, meaning you want to get the lowest price, you got to get the shittiest properties, like, gutted. Like, real estate is not a clean job.
yeah,
It is a dirty job. Expect to get your hands dirty. If you have no experience in real estate and you're watching this, don't expect to manage, like, have all these managers. Like if you're just starting, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Put in that sweat equity. You put in the muscle and put in the labor, because that's what it takes when you're starting off. When you're starting off in any business, you're the one, you're the accountant, you're the cashier, you're the person that's stocking, you're all in one.
you're the employee to the business, basically.
Yes, that's not sustainable, but that's what's needed for you to have that, business survive. And so in the beginning stages, like, people are like, I want to get a GC. You're going to pay top dollar. You're going to hire all these subcontractors and all these things. Um, get your credit fix is a big one too. I'm just now getting involved in the whole credit situation, leveraging your credit to buy these properties and then to have funds readily available so you can invest. So just to analyze your deals correctly, making sure you know how much a property needs to cost you before you even purchase it. If a property is going to cost you 50 grand, but then the after repair values are only 80 grand, and then your cost to fix it is 40 grand, then you're down. It doesn't,
Yeah,
it's not, it's do not even have, don't even bother. But that was a super, like, over exaggerated deal, because, like, it's hard to lose in real estate. Like,
yeah,
at least in Philly, like, when property values are so high and you're getting these, analyze your after repair value, your ARV, your purchase price, and your repair cost. And it's simple math. It's Real estate is a math game. And definitely get your credit repaired, get in touch with general contractors, get involved with, like, the whole construction world. Go to these Home Depots, these Lowe's, these hardware stores, and just talk to the contractors. You see people fixing a house, walk in that house
yeah,
and be like, oh, just be friendly and get
yeah,
people's numbers, and they'll love to work with you if you give them, like, a nice pay and stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah.
build these relationships with contractors and workers, because they really make or break the deal sometimes.
So, what was your best property per se? Whether that was the best profit or just most like most fun to work on, or it just turned out the best. Like, which one would you say was your best?
um the best, I would say, I guess it's this last one that okay, so one that stands out is this one that I'm currently doing. It's got, like, a big backyard, and through to get access to the big backyard, we got to go through, like, this shed. This is completely apart from the house that we're going to rent, but it's connected to the house.
Okay.
So we don't really do this often, but we're going to have access to the backyard, and we're going to plant a bunch of fruit trees, an orchard of blueberries, raspberries, mulberries, all these things that can fruit in Philly.
Okay.
And we're turning that into just, like, like a fruit haven. And it's not something that we generally do, but I just, like, once I stepped foot in that house when it was on for sale, and we were just looking at it, I was, like, looking at how, if I were to buy it, like, how would I fix this? How would I, like, like, structure everything? And I just had the vision in my mind. First floor, one apartment, second floor and third floor would be another apartment. And I'm going to use this shed. And then the shed's going to lead me to this backyard. And I'm going to do all my planting and gardening here. And it's just like, and I can store all my construction stuff in the shed. It's just like, In Philly, there's not many places like that. Everything's tight, everything's row homes and not many space. So to me, it's like a little like luxury to have a house with a yard that big
Yeah, yeah,
and and yeah, like a shed and stuff. So it's needed.
yeah. That's real dope. So you not only find these properties, but you're the designer basically. Like you envision how you're gonna build these up, and you also well now you're not so hands on, but also you was helping build these up too.
Yeah, yeah. I just think of it in my mind. Like I
Yeah.
go there with a tape measure and a Home Depot pencil, and I just make the layout.
Wow. Did you like how did you gain that skill? Was it just watching other people's, or did you always just have this like creative, like intuitive mind?
I think I was always a visionary, but I don't really see it much of a skill just because it's
Yeah,
like I've seen my uncle, like my uncle, my dad. I remember they would go into their properties with just a tape measure, and they would just like figure out where the kitchen is going to go, where the stove is going to go, where the fridge, the walls,
yeah,
the doors. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like I don't know. I guess I just kind of grew up with it, but
yeah,
they taught me just seeing how seeing them do it taught me. Um, but one thing with real estate is when you're starting off in a brand new house, you're doing brand new construction, it helps you have become like this visionary because you have the eyes to see into the future. Like you're looking at why would you buy a gutted crap of property without the vision?
yeah,
Like once I stepped into that property and it was holes and it was leaking, half the house was leaning, I knew that I'm buying this, but like with the potential of it becoming this, and that potential, I had the vision of it in my mind already. Like I created it in my mind before creating it in this real life thing with materials and stuff. And that's something too that I want to like emphasize is have the vision for what you want your life to look like 5 years from now, a year from now. Create that image, that self-image in your mind first, and that's the first step in manifesting. Everything then is created twice in this reality, in
yeah,
this 3D world.
yeah. That's facts. And then after that comes execution. A lot of people forget that part.
Mm,
A lot of people love to, oh, I'm manifesting, I'm speaking
yeah.
into existence, but then go sit on the couch. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Yep. It takes work. It's not just wishy-washy. I know sometimes it can get interpreted that way. But law of attraction it is wishy-washy, but that's one half of it. The other half is
Yeah,
the initiation, the action, the implementing. And with those two, man, you got the whole road in your hands.
yeah, yeah. I saw you make a post about analysis paralysis.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, I was talking about this with somebody before, just about how people just do a bunch of research and are doing a bunch of all this, but then they're not implementing what they're learning from the research. So it's kind of like it's you're not really doing much.
right, right. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you ever like have any troubles with that, or did you ever recognize yourself doing that? Because I actually am fault to that. I can't lie to you. Like I spend times watching podcasts and interviews, reading books, and then I realize I'm like, whoa, I spent the whole day doing all this,
Yeah,
but I didn't actually implement anything from that book, implement anything from that interview.
right. Yeah, that thing that happens to all of us. It's
Yeah,
just a good reminder to, you know, step out of that consuming phase and be a creator.
yeah,
It's good to consume, it's good to analyze, but don't overdo it. Don't just, yeah, don't just be this consumer all the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's
Um,
kind of hard because this whole world pushes us to be consumers. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like everything in this world teaches us to consume. Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's the whole road. It's like you and I, we're not against it, but like we're apart from that. I feel like you and I, we have both qualities that can distinguish us from the rest of the world.
yeah,
Not everyone is entrepreneurs. Not everyone is, driven to succeed like you and I, and that's what makes us stand out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what was like the biggest challenge or mistake that you made during your real estate journey, um, or like the biggest lesson that you learned?
Yeah, I'll wrap this up a little quickly because I do have to get going in a few
Okay, yeah, that's
minutes.
fine.
But the biggest mistake is making sure that the property that you buy, the biggest mistake taught me this: the property that you buy has to be structurally sound.
Okay.
Uh,
What does that mean?
like when you buy a property, you're looking at the inside a lot, right? You don't really look at the outside too much. At least that's for me. Like if there's a giant crack on the bricks and the house is leaning,
Yeah.
where it's like the whole house is gonna fall soon, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Unless you know the architects and the engineers and you can get this thing like fixed no problem. If it's interior damage, interior walls, easy. But if structural damage where the foundation is in jeopardy, like you can buy houses and you can just buy the brick walls.
Yeah.
As long as the brick walls are there and the roof, everything's sound, you're just working indoors. But as soon as that foundation cracks or something, then you're in jeopardy because then you're in issue. You get problems with the city. They could demolish your house. That's what happened,
Wow.
and that's an investment lost. You still own the lot,
Yeah.
but obviously the property value gets cut by a lot when they demolish the house.
Yeah. So that happened to you before?
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. That was tough.
yeah, it hurt, man.
Did you have to restart the whole like, or did you just leave? Like, what happened?
I just left it. It was a long story with that, but long story short, one day, Christmas Day, actually, there was a big rainstorm that happened.
Yeah.
That rainstorm caused like some bricks to fall in the back of the house, and I kid you not, the entire back wall just collapsed. It was like somebody placed a bomb back there. The whole back wall collapsed. And when we got the house, like the day that we were like scouting it, we went in at night. And so we weren't able to see if the
Okay.
property was like this. And it had like plywood covering the cracks and all these things. So we weren't able to see. We were just like looking inside. And so yeah, when you're checking for your properties, go in daylight, go in daylight
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
flashlights and take video. And then like before you make any offer, analyze those videos, making sure there's no, structurally imminently dangerous structure work. And yeah, then you can make your assessment on how much you're gonna offer the agent or the owner.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So Frank, thank you for coming on. Um, keep on doing your thing. I love seeing your posts. I love seeing you inspire other people, spread knowledge. Um, yeah, like you said, how many properties do you see yourself having like the next 5, 10 years?
Oh, at least 50, man. I want 50.
Okay.
It's so achievable.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
50 is like a minimum. 5 years. 5 years is a long time. You
Yeah.
can do a lot in 5 years. That's only 10 properties a year.
Yeah.
About
That's
one property a month.
yeah. 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 And now you're not so hands on. You can. Yeah. But yeah, so thank you again. Thank you for anybody who's watching. Make sure y'all follow Frank. I'm gonna have his Instagram in the description, my Instagram in the description. Subscribe, comment, share, and
Definitely.
yeah, peace.
All right, shoots. Good chatting.